Queer again. Welcome back to my FTB Monster Beginner's Guide. We are going to spend most of today's episode on getting a big reactor put into our new reactor room over there. But I want to start the episode doing a little bit more blood magic. I don't want to dwell too long on this though, because I want to keep the pack kind of more balanced between the techie stuff. I don't want to do magic stuff all the time. So last time we did the ritual of banding. Now my base looks uneven. I just want to make another ritual across here, and I didn't want to do it off camera because I thought, well, you might just wonder where the hell's that come from and what's it for. So I'm going to quickly throw it together on camera. So I made another stack of ritual stones. Now this was really easy this time because of the feathered knife ritual we've got under here. I could pretty much just stand here. I put a stack of smooth stone in there and I came back half an hour later and it was all done. So once you get to this stage, once you get that ritual done, it's really pretty straightforward to make more of these things. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put my master ritual stone in the middle. Bit of a sore throat and a cough, so apologies for my voice. Now I've cycled through to the ritual of unbanding, so that side is ritual of banding. This we don't particularly need yet, but I just wanted to make anyway. We can use it in a minute for something else I want to do, but I think I've laid out the pattern right, so it should be a case of just filling all this in. So yeah, and then 2, 2, 2 and 2. I think that should be it. Yep, there we go. So there's the ritual of unbanding. Now, when we bound this last time, remember we threw a diamond sword into the ritual of banding and it made it into a bound blade. What we could do is, if I activate this with the activation crystal, we could throw that bound blade in there and diamond sword would come back out. Basically what it does is it unbands whatever you've bound. So that's what this is for. Mainly I just wanted to do it. That I've not actually finished yet. There's actually 4 blocks to go on the outside. How many put 2 of them there? 3, 4. Now we're finished. Yeah, look, no more green graphic coming off there. So there we go. That's the ritual of unbanding. So later on there'll be certain things that we might want to unband, bound armour and stuff like that. And the thing I'm going to make in the middle, look at how many sigils I've got in my inventory. It's getting to be a bit of a mess. That ritual thing there, and then ritual stones can all go back in there. I've got another master and a load of ritual stones for later on if I want to make something else, which is good. So there's 2 things I want to make here. One of them is a quick sigil that combines some of the sigils we've already been using, so that of course the water, lava and air do their own thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to combine these in a crafting table with an imbued slate, which is a tier 3 slate. Yep, none of them have been linked to me, so I've actually got the ones that are all linked to me still. So I want to double check that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 4 obsidian around there, and I believe it's the magician's blood orb I need for this. Yep, there we go. We've got this guy, Sigil of Elemental Affinity. What this guy does is, if we put that on, you see we've got water breathing, fire resistance, and we've also got fall resistance, so we take no damage. So that's what the Sigil of Elemental Affinity does. Very useful little sigil there. And the other one we're going to make is, as you can see, we're getting very messy with all the sigils in our inventory. What you can make is, this guy is very straightforward. 4 tier 1 slates, a tier 3 slate, some smooth stone, and I believe that one again. Yep, that gets us this guy, Sigil of Holding. Now what this does is, what we want to do is, first of all let's just turn that Sigil of Elemental Affinity off. We don't need that on at the minute, and move that out of the way. What we're going to do is we're going to put this in our bar, the Sigil of Holding, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put other sigils onto our bar that we want to put in that. This can hold up to 4 sigils. So what I'm going to put in this one, I'm probably going to make another one of these as well. What I'm going to put in this one is, first of all, my water sigil. So if I right click on that now, shift right click, see that there, it's item in slot 0 is water sigil. So if I put my lava sigil there, shift right click, we've now got a lava sigil in there. I'm also going to put the void sigil in there, and I'm going to put the sigil of the green grove in there. So that's the maximum it can hold. It can hold 4 things. And now if we click on this, you see, if in our hand now it's shown as a water sigil. If we shift right click, it'll cycle through them 4 sigils. So rather than carrying them all separate and having inventories full of these, then you can have them like that. So now instead of having 4, we've got 1 there. I'll probably make another Sigil of Holding and put my Elemental Affinity and Air sigil together in that, because you generally use them 2 together. And I might put a Phantom Bridge sigil in there. The Divination sigil, I don't know if it's been fixed. The Divination sigil works inside of the Sigil of Holding, but you can't click on your altar. You can right click in the air and it'll give you your max, your full LP. But when it's in a sigil holding, previously it didn't actually work by clicking on the altar just to let you know what tier your altar is and stuff like that. So be aware of that if you put a divination sigil in there. Right, a signal of magnetism could go in there as well, I guess, with them. So I'll probably make another one of them. Yeah, I'll put my magnetism, elemental affinity, air sigils, things that are active. I'll put in there, and I'll check if the divination sigil works. Now, if I put something in there that by mistake that I didn't want it to get back out, I could activate this, throw it in there, and it'll pop all the separate sigils back out, and you don't lose anything. So you can get them back that way. Right, so that's just what I want to cover really quickly on blood magic. Now, you see this thing is working away at me. This actually works down here, so I can be doing magic and stuff down here. I can be doing whatever I want down here. And you can see I'm actually losing a bit of health, so the feathered knife's reaching me from there, which is very nice. Currently, we are at max, so I don't need it to be affecting me. So what I'm going to do is, I've added a switch on there. It can be any redstone signal, it can be a lever or whatever. But if we just jump up there and click on that, then that's just turned that ritual off. So you can turn rituals off with a redstone signal. That's worth knowing. Right. Thaumcraft, I'm not going to do anything until we update, because pretty soon there's a big research update coming. Thaumcraft's going to version 4.1, and the way research is done is going to change, so I'm not going to do any more of that until we get an update, just so you know. Right then, let's come down to here. Now, I didn't put any of that blood magic stuff into the to-do list, so I'll add that on later. Of course, the to-do list, if you're new to the series, is anything that you're wondering when I did. You can, if you download the world, you can look through this and you can see when I did what. So you can go back through and say, oh right, when did he do a magic map? And that was episode 6. So then you can go watch episode 6 if you so need to find out when we did it. So I'll put them on there. What we're going to work towards now is a big reactor. Now, big reactor is sustained power creation. Now, there's quite a few ways of doing this in the pack. There's quite a few ways with rotary craft. There's ways with IC2, there's ways with thermal expansion. So this isn't the be-all and end-all way of doing it. This is just a very nice new way of doing things, which is something I wanted to cover. What I've done is I've processed all my uranium, yellowite and uranium through the grinder here. So there we go, yellowite ore. And it gets unified into this uranium ingot from rotary craft, which is fine. These are all dictionaries, so they all work together. If you look through and we get to our dictionary, you'll see that. Reactor craft uranium, nether uranium, pitch and blade, yellowite, yellorium should I say. It's all the same stuff, so it's all good. So I made a lot of that stuff. What I've also done is I've chucked a couple of stacks of coal through the furnace here. So that's turned that into graphite bars. So that's kind of what we need to start with. I just want to check this. Is that full? Yeah, that's full. That's still got that issue there, of course, where it just keeps taking power even though it doesn't need it. So that can go in there out of the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our NEI and we're going to go to big reactors. Now these guys use yellowite. There's that much of it around when you're mining. It's really worth doing. It's a good fuel source that there's no point in ignoring, because it's abundant. You know, you're going to get a real good use out of it. So what we're going to need to do, we're going to start making these things, these blocks. Now everything comes from this guy first, reactor casing. So that's the first guy we're going to need, and you get quite a lot of them. They use these graphite bars, iron, and some of that uranium. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with a stack of these. So I'm going to go split them to 16s. I'm going to get a stack of iron around there. We're probably going to need that as well at some point, but we'll just start with a stack of these. So that's got 64 of these reactor casings. What I'm going to start with is I'm going to start by making a base. Now the reactor design I use, it's from a spreadsheet made by a guy called Finrod, who's part of the Resident Raz community, and the spreadsheet I will link in the video description. And please remember, if you do use that, remember that that is for Resident Raz, which has a different modifier. Now big reactors in the config, it has a modifier that shows how much power you get out for input, yeah. So I think Resident Raz has it set to 3. I think Feed the Beast has it set to 1. So you will get less power out than what the spreadsheet tells you. Just be aware of that. But what we're making here is a structure that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 7 by 3. So it's only been very short, but So good. You see, we've nearly gone through this full stack already. So I'm going to have to make the other stack. I thought I was going to anyway. So what we can do is these things can also, in fact, these things go into all the other things. So if we look, you see that our controller that we're going to need to make also needs these casings. Power tap, we need one of them. So we need one controller, one power tap. We need an access port to put fuel in. We need an access port to take fuel out. That's actually an input output. So it says it's an access port, but it can take things out as well. We don't need rednet because we're not going to use MFR rednet. We're probably going to use normal redstone. You can use computer craft. We're probably just going to use a normal redstone port there. If we come back, there's this stuff glass. It's actually cheaper. You see, you get 2 of these by using some glass. So we could have made some of this floor with glass. In fact, we should. Let's make it cheaper. So the corners have to be. Whoops. The corners have to be. No, the edges have to be solid. But all these blocks in the middle could, in theory, be glass. Now, I say all of them. That's a lie. The ones that have things called fuel rods on them have to be solid. So what we're going to have in this reactor design, we're going to have all these guys are going to have fuel rods on them. So we'll get to them in a bit, but with the rest of this stuff, let's get half a stack of glass. We'll make a load of glass out of this. So that's going to get us 32 glass. So instead of having 16, we've actually doubled up, and we can use this in certain areas. So what we can use it for is, we can use it around here. We can use it down most of the sides. Now we can't use it on all the sides because we're going to need certain things in some of these blocks, like the controller and stuff. But we'll put some in there for now. We can also use it around a certain amount on the top. Now, like I said, we need reactor. What are they called? Fuel rods. These guys go in the middle, but we're going to need on top of each of them. We need a control rod. So we need 9 of them in the middle of this as well, but they can have glass on the outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get the rest of the components made. I'm going to work out exactly how much I need because I don't want to waste resources. And I'll make some more glass. I'll leave the spaces for the inputs we're going to need on the sides. I'll be back in a bit. Right then, I've got a bit more stuff already. I think it's all the stuff I'm going to need. And let's put a bit of light into it by making our awesome walls see-through. Love it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this really basic to start with. I'm just going to make it with one access port, one controller. That's the basic minimum stuff that you need. What we need first of all is we need some reactor rods inside here. So fuel rods, we're going to make some of these. So these use iron, graphite bars and uranium. That should take these uraniums. So that was like that one. So that was more iron. Have I got enough iron with me? I thought I'd got a stack out. It looks like I've got 2 stacks of gold by mistake. So we're going to make 9 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, we need more iron. Brilliant. Stack of you back. Stack of you. That's what I meant to grab. So one more of them guys. So 9 of them yellorium fuel rods. Now this is where your fuel actually sits when the reactor's running. And the design we're using has 9 of them in the middle. Now, you can make your designs all kind of funky ways. This is just the way I'm doing it because of Finrod's Google Doc. This is the most fuel efficient reactor, which is what I'm all about, fuel efficiency. I like that, so that's why I use this one. Now we're going to need these guys, control rod. We need one of these on top of each of these fuel rods. So a control rod on top of each fuel rod. So we need one 36 reactor casings to start with. See, it gets quite expensive. Oops. Even out. Am I even going to have enough? I ain't even going to have enough, am I? So, right, I do actually need another stack of graphite cooking up. So, I need to go get another stack of coal, and I'll be back in a minute. Right then, I made another stack of these graphite bars, and what I'm actually going to do is, have I lost a couple somewhere along the way, or have I used them for something else? I may use something else. A little bit of time has passed. I'm just going to make something else just in before I carry on. You might want one of these if we get into more rotary craft, you're certainly going to want some of these. This thing is loud. It's a bit irritating after a bit. 1 redstone, 8 wood round it, get you a note block, vanilla thing. And 8 wool around that will get you a sound muffler, which is really nice for the rotary craft stuff because it's a bit noisy. Better, innit? So I've done a little bit off camera. I've made a couple of redstone energy cells because we're going to need them. I went up to the top there and a creeper spawned there. Not lit it up well enough. A creeper spawned and blew some stuff up. Cheeky bastard. Come here. Oop. I'm getting quite a few of the weak blood shards. I didn't get one that time, but I've been getting quite a few of the weak blood shards by using this as my general sword, which is very nice. Right then, so let's carry on with what we was doing. We wanted them split into 9s, didn't we? And put them there. What went in the middle? I can't remember. Redstone, I'm guessing. Yep, there we go. So we want 9 of these control rods. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can see it's quite expensive to set this guy up, which is good. You don't want things too cheap, do you? This is going to provide us a lot of power for a long time. So it's a worthy investment. Let's try again with a bad placement. There we go. So that's the top bit done there. Now we need to make some more of the general blocks. So let's even that out again. So, right, what do we need? I'm going to start off with making the most basic way possible, and then I'm going to add more bits to it. So let's just do a little bit. Let's get them that we need. So we want 1 there. We want 1, 2, 3, 4. About 12 glass. So let's make some of these into glass. I've got a crafting bench in here. I don't think I have. We'll clear that out. Let's go with 12 glass for now. Now, another thing we're going to do is, to start this off, we're not going to have any liquid in this gap in here. What we can do is we can put liquids in, various liquids, increase the cooling by various amounts. We could just put water in, which I probably should do just to start off with, but I'm not going to. I'm going to save it for later on. That's certainly enough of that stuff. I'm going to save it for later on, because what we're going to do is we're going to put liquid ender pearls in the centre area there, around them, but we won't do that just yet, so we'll actually get on with that a bit later. So what I'm going to want now is another 4 of these guys. So in fact, let's see what we're going to need. So back to big reactors. So we want a controller. Controller uses 4, that's good. We want a power tap to get power out, so there's another 4, so we need 8. We need at least 1 access port, so there's 12. I don't think I've made them guys yet. And that's the basic everything we need. So let's get 12 of these made. And let's get those bits we need made. So it was 4 redstone and 4 on the outside. Gets us our power tap. So that's how we're going to get power out. Yeah, makes sense. And then I want at least 1 more glass if I'm doing it this way. I won't use glass, I'll just use one of these spare bits of casing, because we're going to make more. We're going to get more bits for the outside as we go on. Then our controller is 2 uranium, a diamond and a redstone. So these uranium should work fine and to do. So that's going to go in the middle there, so we're facing that as we come in. And then we need something to get the stuff in and out, so I'm going to need a piston and a chest. So what do I need for that? Cobble and wood. Let's run over here real quick. Whee! I made another sigil of holding as well. Oh, and the sigil of holding, the divination sigil does work now. So I said about it not working on the altar, it actually does. It works out in the open and it works on the altar, which is good. What doesn't work is the sigil of magnetism does not go into the sigil of holding. So in this one I've got my divination sigil, I've got my elemental affinity that I can turn on and off with a right click, and I've got my air sigil, which is my flight of course. But I was hoping to put the magnetism sigil in there as well, but that does not go in there. Maybe never will, but it certainly doesn't yet. We'll see next update if it goes in then. So some of them, and what do we need here? 3 wood for that, and then I'll need another 8 wood for a chest. Oops, silly. Try that again. There, like so, and that gets us our access port. Wonderful. So if we put this in, I'm going to put that there. And for now, I'm just going to cover these 2 gaps up with them. And you see, when I placed that last one, it became a multi-block structure. Let me turn my sigil of magnetism off there, just for now, so it doesn't keep flashing blood into our face. So when I place that last block, I'll do it again. Oh, didn't mean to break that. Come here, you. I guess I'm turning that back on then. Come on, make me look a fool. Damn game. So when you place the last block, whatever last block you place, you'll see this will become a multi-block structure, which indicates you've done it right. It's very good. And now what we can do is, we need fuel in. So let's start by putting 1 in for now. See what happens. Fuel goes in there. You can see we've got a tiny bit of fuel in there, 2.8%. So it takes quite a lot. Now, let's just bang it all in. Let's bang that 33 in there. You see, there we go. So it takes like over half a stack to fill this guy up. What we can do with this thing, by the way, is we can make this an output as well. So if it's an output, it's blue. Input, it's green. Yellowy green. So what we'll do at some point is we'll automate the putting in of these ingots with applied energistics, and we'll automate the taking out of them with taking out of the cyanite, which will feed into a thing called a cyanite reprocessor, which we're going to do later on, but I just wanted to get this thing working to show you. So this is the most basic one we can have. What we're going to need is something to put the power into, so that's what I made these guys for. So let's grab one of these, and that can go on the side there. Now you see this can take 2000 RF a tick. What we can do now, you can activate this, and you'll see the temperature is going to start going up. We're running at about 1500 RF a tick, and that is filling up nicely. So there we've got a nice sustained amount of power, and that is going to serve us very well. This will all eventually be automated, as I said. You can see the yellorium inside the fuel rods in there. Now if I put water in here, it will improve the heat controlling of this. We'll wait for a liquid ender. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut camera, I'm going to fill this up, and then just manually stop it. I'm going to work out exactly what else I need to make the other bits we're going to need to automate this. I'll be back in a bit. Okay, I wasn't very happy with the output that was giving me, so what I decided to do was, I've been into the Twilight Forest, into that big hill. I've mined up a lot of mimicrite, and I've got myself a lot of ender pearls from the mimicrite. So I'm just making a stack, well, 4 stacks of 16, so 64 ender pearls into liquid. And what we're going to do is we're going to put liquid ender in there. So what I'm going to make this is this guy, portable tank. That will hold 8 buckets. If we put 4 invar around it, it will hold 16 buckets, which is very nice. Then if we put 4 of this hardened glass around it, it will go up to 32 buckets, which is also very nice. And then we've got one more upgrade to that. We can make it to 64 using invarium, which, no, it's not invarium, endarium, that's the stuff, which is also liquid ender based, but we haven't got to that stage yet. We will be upgrading these energy cells with that at some point as well. But what we can do with this now is we can put all this liquid ender into it. So what I'm going to do is, that's full, as is that. I'm just going to stop that going out to there for a minute. I'm going to switch this to empty mode rather than fill mode, and I'm going to put the top to an output. And what it's going to do is it's going to put 10 buckets worth of ender, resonant ender, into there. This guy works very nicely with our Omni wrench. If you click it, it puts it to output mode. See there, orange means output mode, blue's input mode. Very nice. You empty it yet? Shift click it with a wrench, pops it off. We can now stick it on there, and we can put this into it as well. There we go. So we're going to have all that in there. I'm just going to reset that. And once this is empty, we'll do the same for that. And it's just a case of getting a bucket. That's all done. Let's pop this off. Now, what I've done is I made an extra bit of glass. I didn't like not meant to see into it. And for the time being, I've just took all this top off so I can get into here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my portable tank there. What I can do, I can keep clicking on a bucket and it'll give me a bucket's worth. What I'm going to do is we're going to fill this guy all the way around with these buckets of resin ender. So it's got a full load of this round it. There's a spider up there. Hello, spider. You can't see me anymore. So all the way around, I think he can see me, can't he? Oops, let's go up here, and I'm just going to pop that off and bring it around with me a bit, and I can put these back as I'm going. Rebuild this. Now, how many have I got left? I've got 7 still to do. Let's work out where I've put them and where I haven't. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Sweet. So that's all solid liquid resonant ender now. I keep calling it liquid ender, it's resonant ender. Fill up that again and then put this back again. Now, setting redstone control on this, it's pretty straightforward. It's also a bit of a pain. There we go. We'll set as a multi-block again. Let's grab our portable tank back. It's good and it's also a pain at the same time. Now if we turn this back on, it should run a bit higher. So it's running 17 and 18. When I came back to it, it got to about 600 degrees and it was only running at about 12. So this should go to about 800 and run at about 2k-ish, which is good. Redstone control is, you can get it to feather real nice and easy just by having 2 redstone pots, them guys, and you have one saying you can get it, you can have one when it goes low. I should show you a redstone pot really. There's rules inside that. I'm not going to do that just yet. I found it better using 3. You have one that toggles the reactor on off, one that detects a high amount of storage, and one that detects low. But I'm going to do that later. We don't really need to do that yet. What I'm going to do the rest of this episode is I'm going to start setting up a little bit of a applied energistic system, a really basic system. Now we've got power to run it, it's pretty straightforward. So what's going to happen here, this guy's going to fill up. Once this guy's full up, this buffer inside is going to fill up. I'm also going to fill this guy up. Why not? And I'm going to go get the bits ready to start as a basic AE system, a controller, a storage chest, an ME drive, an access terminal, most basic as possible, and then we will, once we've got that sorted, we'll put that together and we can start storing all our stuff out of the chests in an AE system in our factory area here. So what I can do with that actually is, yeah, I've got that to all put down, so that's put into there as well. Cool. So this will all fill up and then I'll just keep an eye on it and I'll stop it. Well, it seemed I overestimated my resources a little bit. I'm going to make a little start on the A network, but I've not got much status quartz at all. I've been having a little look around, but it's getting late and I can't really find a great deal. But we've got this done in this episode up to now. We've got our big reactor done. Now the big reactor I turned off. It filled them 2 things up nicely. Between the segments earlier, by the way, I did raise this up one. You've probably noticed. I thought it looked a little bit better. I did make it into the floor at first, didn't I? But I think it suits this room better up one, so I moved it up one. As you can see, this is full. And these are both full, and as you can see in there, we've got 5 cyanide ingots out, so that means it's actually used up 5 of the yellorium ingots we put in there. So these guys can actually go into a thing called a cyanide reprocessor, with power and water and get made into plutonium, which can get put back in the reactor and used as fuel again. So you get a double run at this if you set it up right, which we will get on with automating this with redstone and putting a processor onto this later on. But for now, we're going to leave that. So I'm going to move on to a little bit of applied logistics before I wrap up. It is getting late and my cold's starting to kick my ass a bit. But what we're going to do is I made another weight table here, makes things a bit easier. Now, the first thing to start with any network is this guy, a controller, and these fluix crystals are pretty straightforward. That's just Certus quartz, nether quartz, and redstone, and you pretty much don't need these for much else until real later on. I mean, you can use them any of the cells into like storage. P2P tunnels are quite advanced. We'll get to later. Fluix pearls, they're quite advanced. We'll get to later. That's for quantum link stuff and spatial stuff. But all we really need to do at the minute is make 4 of these. So I'm not putting a pattern in for these. I'm gonna let's make 4 of them, straight up 3, 4, like so. Now, the next bit we need is this guy, this advanced processor. Now these, there's a few ways of making them, but we're going to go that way. It's the standard way of making them, I guess. You need a quartz cutting knife, which you can use either type of quartz, iron, and sticks. I haven't got no damn sticks with me. And redstone either side, and silicon underneath. Now what silicon is silicon, we've got some in here, is cooked quartz dust. So I'm processing quartz in here. I said I didn't have much Certus quartz, I didn't have much nether quartz either. I went to the nether and I mined a couple of stacks of nether quartz, running away from all the zombie pigmen that I was angering. Now you put your Certus quartz ore, because I've got silk touch, into the grinder here, you'll get 3 quartz flakes per. That ain't bad. And then we can just cook them quartz flakes up, and we shall see that gives us 3 of these Certus quartz gems. Oh, sorry, that was 5 Certus quartz I had. Sorry. I cooked up the nether quartz. You get 3 nether quartz per one of them as well, so I've got quite a bit of nether quartz from that. I also, yes, I did have actually, I had 5 Certus quartz ore that I silk touched. That was all I found when I went out. That makes these things, you get, for one of them, you get like 3 of these. It's quite useful. And what we can do with them is we can turn them into Certus quartz, like so. So with rotary craft, you can get a lot more Certus quartz for your ore blocks. So I'm guessing, yeah, I think each Certus quartz ore in there you get 3, and then each 3 of them you cook up you get 3, so you're getting 6 Certus quartz from each ore block with rotary craft, which is kind of awesome. We might actually be able to make a little bit more with that now actually. We shall see how we go. So what I'm going to do is, now I've got rid of them, I'm going to put another 16 nether quartz. I'm going to pulverise that into nether quartz dust, and then that's getting sent into there and getting cooked into silicon. So that's where we're getting our silicon from. So all this stuff can go in there. Let's make that into that stuff. And I think we should probably pulverise some of that as well. So I'm going to stop that outputting. Tell you what, I'll cook it. You know what? I'll put it in there for now, and that'll turn that into Certus quartz dust, because we can do with a bit more of that as well. And make sure that's doing the right thing. Yep, Certus quartz dust. So we'll get that turned into that. So basically, this is pretty much most of the things that you use in applied logistics: Certus quartz, nether quartz, redstone, diamonds, gold, iron, and glass will get you most things you're going to need. So the first thing I'm going to need is, I'm going to need to grab some sticks, which I can't believe I forgot to grab. I'll grab a few of these, because we might need more than one of these little quartz knives, because they wear down pretty quick. I want to quickly sleep. No, I'm not, because there's a creeper right there. Get away. Get away. Creepers everywhere. And you. Right. So what you get when you start rushing, you start making mistakes. In we go. I'm just going to keep things simple. I'm going to throw that weak blood shard and that gunpowder into my bag there at the weight, and I'll throw that pick into there as well that I've been using. So this guy's pretty straightforward. We might as well put this in here, because we probably need a few of these. So we'll have this as a recipe in here. And we're going to use we're going to use nether quartz, because it's a bit more abundant at the minute for us. And that gets us a quartz cutting knife. I'm going to actually put a padlock on that, so we can keep an eye on that. And then we've got 2 things we're going to use in here. we're going to want to make these processors. So the first one we need a diamond. What I'm going to actually make is I'm going to make both. I'm going to make the basic and the advanced. So the basic is gold, the advanced is diamond. That's the only difference. So what we want is redstone either side, and silicon at the bottom, and our knife at the top. And we'll see if we get 32 of them, and you'll see it's used up pretty much 2/3 of the knife there. So we can cook them up. Is this finished yet? So we'll cook them up. You can use mimicrate to double them at this stage, which means if you double them at this stage, you're getting double the silicon, double the redstone, double the quartz, and you're saving on your knife. So at that stage, you can double them up using mimicrate. So that's worth remembering if you're a bit short. I should maybe do that myself, but I'm not going to bother at the minute. Now I'm going to do, we'll keep that pattern. I'm going to do the same with diamond, and I'm going to get 8 of the diamond ones. And that should last us alright for that. So we'll get them cooked up. I'll use this other furnace over here while we're waiting. And that's turned to dust, good stuff. This is very slow. I'm going to have to make the upgrades for this. There's upgrades for this that make it a lot quicker, which I should definitely get. There we go, we've got 3 of them. So we can make our first thing now, which was of course the controller. So one of them, 4 of these guys, and 4 iron gets us the controller. Lovely. Now this is the heart of any network. Without this you cannot do anything else. So I'm going to put that, where am I going to put this? Really not thought it from. Let's put it there for now, just to show you. This guy needs power. So we start off by getting him power. And where's my wrench? There it is. We'll pop this guy off. And we've put it down next to this and set it to go out there. Set it so we want to put output to that side. So this guy's filled up, and we've got 10,000 A units. We can go through MJs, is 2,000 MJs. We're using 1.2 MJ a tick, just keeping this running on its own. And there's EUs there as well, and there's joules from atomic science, I believe. Watts from atomic science, I don't know what joules are from then. But I generally keep this on MJ, because I'm kind of used to it more. But that's running at 1.2 MJ a tick, just to keep that open. So you don't really want to get one of these running until you've got some kind of sustained energy. Hello, skeleton. But what we'll do, we'll turn that off. And you'll see when we turn that off, this is going to start draining down, and eventually it's going to run out. Now, if you've got a little system and you don't want to keep it turned on all the time, a very useful thing to be aware of is this guy. It's got a dark cable. Where is it? There we go. A dark cable. Now I'm going to make normal cable in a minute, but if you put normal cable either side of a lever and some redstone, you can make a dark cable. What that can do is that'll accept a redstone signal. So you could have a dark cable. We could have the rest of our system, say over here, with dark cable in between where this work table is, and we could put a lever here and we could just turn it off so that the rest of the system isn't turned on when we don't want it to be. Very useful, worth knowing. Right, the next thing we're going to need is, I can't believe I put it there. The next thing we're going to need is something to store things in. So with that, we're going to go with a chest, for which I'm going to need these things. I'll tell you what, first of all, a couple of other things we need to make. Let's clear that. You can clear these, by the way, by clicking on the book. We're going to need stuff called fluix, which is a shapeless recipe, which means it can be anywhere. But I generally go the same with what the book shows, so we'll go like that. What the NEI shows, I mean. That gets us this stuff, fluix dust. We're going to need quite a bit of that. I'm going to make 16 for now. We'll keep all these recipes. That's the basic stuff for your stuff like your cables and stuff. So let's make just a few cables. Can I make 18? Look at that. Useless. So we'll make 12 cables for now. So that's another recipe worth saving. And then the 2 other recipes I'll definitely want to have in here. The 2 things that go into this. Now, this is the recipe you're going to want. By the way, can you shift click into there? You can, look. So if you click on something in there, shift click on the question mark, and it will put that pattern into your work table. So now we can make one of these conversion matrices without having to mess about. We've got most of the bits in there, we just need our processors. So we'll stick them in there, we'll stick them diamond ones in there as well. We'll make one of them, because we're going to need one, that's worth saving. The next thing you want to probably do is one of these things, an ME interface. That uses one of them as well, and a cable, and some glass and iron. But we won't do that just yet. What we're working towards now is we're going to work towards this thing, an ME chest, and this thing, an ME drive. So I need 2 wooden chests. So I'll just grab a bit of wood, back in a minute. Right then, the next thing we're going to craft up then is this guy, the ME chest. Now you don't technically need this, we could skip having the chest, but it is useful to have. I'll explain why in just a minute. So we need some glass and some iron to go with that guy, like so. That gets an ME chest. What that can do is, that can go, all they've got to do is be touching for them to connect. So if you had power in there, which I'm going to put any in just in a minute, then we need another thing called a storage cell, but we can actually see what's in that. Now, you don't technically need that, because you can make these things that we're going to make next. These are called ME drives. And that uses 2 of them, 1 of them, and let me just double check. Okay, 2 glass and 4 iron. That gets this drive thing. So if you put the drive down, what you'll see different here is, whereas this has got 1 storage cell, this has got room for 10. The difference is you can actually see what's in this one, and you can't see what's in them, apart from in a terminal, which we'll need to make next. Now this is quite useful, because what you can do is you can set certain things to be in these ones. So you can have all your ingots in one, all your gems in one, all your organic stuff. That's how I normally go. With this, you can have all your random stuff going in. So having the actual interface to see what's in that cell is quite useful, because using that you can see what you actually want to put into specific storage, if that makes sense. What we do need though is, before we even get any kind of storage, we need to be able to access this stuff. So for that, we need this guy. It's called an access terminal. There we go, and he actually uses a storage cell. That's a crafting one. What am I doing? Access terminal, there we go. Access terminal, use conversion matrix, a bit of cable, and some glass and iron again. So I'm actually going to make 2 of these. Just going to want 2. So, I'll tell you for why in a minute. We're only going to actually use 1 here, but we're going to use 1 to actually make that crafting terminal. I just clicked on a minute ago. So let's make 2. Let's just leave 1 out of the way a minute. Now, I'll put that there. If I take this back up for a second, that there is your most basic system you can have. This has got power and a storage cell, which we haven't made yet. That is your most basic system. In fact, I'm lying. That's your most basic system. If you could have a storage cell in there, then you can actually access things from that. So that's a minimum you can make. Once you've got an ME drive, you need to have the terminal to be able to see what's in all your stuff. Next up, we are going to want to put storage into that. So I'm going to make a couple of these storage cells. Now I'm going to start with the 1K ones. They all use these storage cells, and you can get them bigger and bigger. And the bigger ones use multiples of the smallest ones. This is your 64K. It uses 3 of the 16K. The 16Ks use 3 of the 4Ks, and the 4Ks use 3 of the 1Ks. So what we start off by making is a 1Ks, which we are going to make in there. That makes sense. So we'll grab our little one there, we'll shift click that, and we'll have, let's have 3, 4, 5, what we've run out of. We have run out of redstone. Need to grab a bit more redstone. Yeah, we'll start with 3 then. What we're going to do with one of these is make it into one of our storage cells. So there we go. There's an actual 1K storage cell. So what that can do is that can go in here. We'll put that in there. And now, if this has got power, let's give it some power to show you. We can use a bit of power. You'll see, there we go. We can actually put things in there now. So that's now a storage unit. You see, we can take that out of the access terminal there. But because we've only got that 1 storage thing in there, we can actually get rid of that. Get rid of that. And we could just access it out of there. So you've only got enough for 63 different items, but you have got a working A network. Minimal, totally minimal one. What we'll do is extend it. So we'd want more of these cells. We want at least 4Ks really. 1K can't fit a great deal on. 1K is good for a single item. I generally have like 1K full of dirt, 1K full of cobble. and things like that. For mixed stuff, ingots and all that, you want at least a 4. You want to be working up towards 64s as you get more and more resources. The other thing we want to make is we're going to upgrade one of these access terminals into what's called a crafting terminal, and that uses one of these storage cells and a crafting table. As you can see, I've kind of got this prepped for, and bit of glass, bit of iron. Is it like that? I think I've done it wrong, haven't I? Let's think, was it 4 glass, 4 iron, 2 glass? Yep, there we go. That gives us a crafting terminal. Put that on top of there. You'll see it'll join to the network as well. What we can do in this one, we can actually craft things out of it, which is really useful. It's got a bit of a smaller window, so I like to have both. You don't need to have both. You could get rid of this terminal and just have the crafting one. Personally, I like to have a nice big window to scroll through there as well. But that's just personal preference. You don't actually need that. You could just upgrade it to that and just use that. And you can craft out there. This thing, by the way, it automatically searches in there when you come into it. You can change it there to standard search, and then it won't automatically type in there, which I prefer. It remembers what you've clicked on as well. But to type in there and search, you'd have to put stuff in. So what I'll do is I'll get a few more of these med. I'll just make a few cells up, because that's a little bit tedious and time consuming. I'll show you a little basic network, and then I'll probably wrap up. So I went ahead and I made 3 of these 4K ones. So I made the little single ones into, I got some more redstone, made some of the single ones, so I got now the single ones in total. Now I did have a little single one in there, didn't I? I took that back out, and what I did with it is, what you can do, you put it in your hand, you shift right click it, you can get the cell back out. So I took the little 1K cell out there, combined it, and I made that, and you can put that back into there, so that just becomes an empty cell. So you can increase, so you're not actually losing anything, you're not stuck with a load of 1Ks you never need anymore. You can take them back out, so that's quite useful. And I made one more machine. This is called a partition editor. This doesn't have to be connected, it doesn't need power or anything. This can stand on its own. And that's made like a crafting table, one of them conversion matrix things, and the usual stuff. And what we can do with this is we can actually set what we want to put into certain things. So for example, I'm going to want to grab one each of these ores. And I'm going to get the rotary craft version of them, because that's kind of how we're getting them at the minute. I'll just take that to one side a minute. And we'll take that uranium as well. We'll leave the rest in there for now. We'll take our steel. There we go. And that'll do for now. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to put one of these storage cells into there. And I'm just going to click the ghost image of some of them into there. And I'm going to give it a name, ingots. Click format, and now if we look at this, if we look at that one, it doesn't say it's formatted or anything. If you look at this one, it'll say it's partitioned, allow precise, and it's called ingots. So what we can do with that is, if we put that into one of these, let's give it some power, and we're going to put this one that's not partitioned at all into there. If we put any ingots into the system, they're showing there, and they're showing there. And if we look in there, none of them are going to that chest, because they've all gone into that. So they're getting stored in there. If you can see that, it's storing 8 things. So that's how you do your partitions. Anything that's not stored in there, so if we put the nether quartz in, that's not partitioned to go in there. So that ends up in there. So all your random stuff ends up in there. And then you can decide by using your random stuff what you want to put into your main stuff. So now we can take all these. And I'm going to leave the stuff in there at the minute that's not being set as that stuff, you know. Let's leave that there randomly for now. I'll sort that out off camera later. So we can bang all this into here. And the system's clever enough to put none of that apart from the quartz. Should have gone to there. So we've got quartz in there only. And all the other stuff went into there, and we can access it all. Wonderful. Now I made one more partitioned thing here, just off camera before we came back on. If we put that back in there, you'll see I've called that one gems, and I put all these kind of items in. So what I can do now is, actually I want to grab my nether quartz out of there, and I want to add that nether quartz to there. Press format again, so you can add things, you can take things away, format and get rid of that again. So we'll format with that, with the quartz in there as well. That can go in there next to that. And now if we put the quartz in there, the quartz is no longer in there, and we should have one item 63 in there. Sweet. So I brought my chest over here using my trusty dolly, and all this stuff which I class as gems, even though a lot of it's not really gems, you know. All this kind of stuff can go in there, and you can always see if you've skipped putting anything into a partition, because when it goes into your system it'll end up in there. So there we go. You see I've not put quartz into the gems, sorry, flint. It's not really a gem anyway, but it's not really an ingot, so I'll store it in with gems. So we'll add that to that. That can go back in there. That can go in there, and we are all sorted. And any random item goes in there. This I normally put in the floor in front of my control terminal controller, just so I've got good, quick, easy access to it. There we go, little AE network. It's manual in minutes without piping anything into it or out of it, but we've got it sorted. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to wrap up the video there, and I'm going to go to bed. Cheers, bye.